If you've been exercising consistently, lifting weights, doing Pilates, yoga, or even physical therapy, and you're still dealing with pain, imbalance, or frustration with your scoliosis, this video is for you. Maybe you've been told to strengthen your core or work on your posture, and you've been doing exactly that. You've put in the time, the effort, the consistency, but something still feels off. Welcome to the Strength and Spine YouTube channel. I am Dr. Beth Terranova. I am a scoliosis specialist, physical therapist, and a person with scoliosis myself. Today we're talking about why general exercise alone often isn't enough for scoliosis, and why scoliosis-specific exercise exists in the first place. And right away, I want you to hear this clearly. If exercise hasn't helped you in the way you hoped, you didn't fail. The exercise just wasn't designed for your spine. So let's talk about why that is and what actually works instead. Most exercise programs assume the body is symmetrical. They assume both sides of your trunk work the same way. They assume that your rib cage expands evenly on both sides. They assume that your spine is stacked directly over your pelvis and that your muscles fire in balanced, coordinated patterns. But scoliosis is a three-dimensional asymmetrical condition. The spine rotates, the ribs shift, and the muscles adapt unevenly over time. One side of your rib cage might be more prominent. One shoulder may sit more forward. Your pelvis may shift and or rotate. And your muscles have been compensating for this pattern, sometimes for years. So when you do general exercise without addressing that asymmetry, your body often just strengthens the pattern that it already knows. You get stronger in the posture that you already have. That is why someone can improve their strength and still stand, sit, and move in the same rotated posture that they've had for years. The exercises that they're doing aren't wrong, they just weren't specific enough. Scoliosis-specific exercise like Schroth, CAS, and other corrective approaches were developed to address this exact issue. Instead of assuming asymmetry, these methods work with your specific curve pattern. They use posture, positioning, and breathing to change the spinal alignment. They focus on awareness before adding load, and they teach your nervous system a new default position of your spine. These programs don't just add strength, they change and organize your body in space. And there's research to support this. A study in 2009 followed 31 adults who committed to doing SEES scoliosis-specific exercises for several years. What they found was really encouraging. Many of the participants didn't just slow their progression. A significant number actually improved their curves. And interestingly, the people who stopped doing the exercises were more likely to see their curves worsen again. So this study suggests that adult scoliosis isn't just a one-way street. Consistent, targeted exercise may actually change the trajectory. In a 2015 study, researchers followed 34 adults with idiopathic scoliosis, average age of 38, with curves around 56 degrees, so not small curves. They participated in a scoliosis-specific program called CAS, doing about 2 45-minute sessions per week for roughly 2 years. And here's what happened. 68% of them improved their Cobb angle. The average improvement was between 4 and 5 degrees. only one person's Cobb angle worsened, and even in that case, the progression trajectory that they were on slowed down. Now, in adults with curves over 50 degrees, we typically expect slow progression over time, about 1/2 to 1 degree per year. So this matters. Does this mean exercise permanently reshapes bone? No. Does it mean that everyone will reduce their curve? Also no. But it suggests something important. Adult scoliosis isn't always a one-way street. With consistent, targeted scoliosis-specific exercise, we may be able to change the trajectory, stabilizing curves, and in some cases, even improving curves. And that's a very different conversation than what most of us hear with adult scoliosis, which is there's nothing you can do about it. Now, let me be very clear, because this is where people think that they have to pick a side. General exercise is still valuable. Strength training, endurance work, and mobility all matter for long-term health. You should still lift. You should still move. You should still build capacity in your body. But general exercise answers the question, how strong and fit is your body overall? Scoliosis-specific exercise answers a different question. How does your spine organize itself when you move? You need both. One builds capacity, the other builds control. And when you combine them, that's when people really start to see the shift that they've been looking for. This is another important thing to say out loud. Most people with scoliosis are not lazy. They're not unmotivated. In fact, many of you are doing more than the average person. You're stretching every day. You're doing your PT exercises. You're foam rolling, strengthening, moving. But effort alone doesn't change scoliosis patterns. Why? Because scoliosis isn't just about weak muscles or tight muscles. It's about how your nervous system and your muscles have learned to organize your posture. Your brain has built a map of what upright feels like. And for someone with scoliosis, that map is skewed. Your brain has a default setting. And unless we retrain that default, your body will keep drifting back to that same position, no matter how strong you get. You might stand up straighter for a moment, but as soon as you stop thinking about it, your body reverts. That's why someone can plank, squat, deadlift, and stretch, and then still stand with that same rib rotation and trunk shift. The strength is there, but the strategy isn't. Scoliosis-specific exercises interrupt that pattern. It gives your brain new information. It teaches your nervous system what a more balanced position feels like, and then reinforces it over and over until it becomes automatic. And then, when you layer strength on top of that, things finally really start to change. This is why when we start working with many of our online clients, they've been stuck for years. And suddenly they say, oh, this makes sense now. They weren't missing discipline. They were missing strategy. They were working hard, but not working smart. And scoliosis isn't about fixing your spine. It's about training it with intention. It's about understanding why your body does what it does and then giving it a better option. And once you have that foundation, everything else you do, your strength training, your mobility work, your daily movement becomes more effective. Because now you're building on top of a system that actually knows how to organize itself. So if you've been frustrated because exercise isn't working, I want you to know it's not your fault. You just need a different approach. In the next video, we're going to talk about some core problems that scoliosis-specific exercise actually solves. And I'll give you a simple task to perform that will change how you think about your movements with scoliosis right away. If this resonated, let me know in the comments what kind of exercises that you're already doing, and hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video. If you feel that you need more help, there is a link in the description of this video to learn more about our one-on-one coaching, how we combine these concepts of scoliosis-specific exercise and general strengthening to get the most out of your routine. I'll see you in the next video.